Welcome to The Holistic Entrepreneur with success coach, holistic nurse practitioner, and best-selling author, Bonnie Groessl. Bonnie shares inspirational and enlightening content to educate, empower, and facilitate well-being while nurturing the mind-body-spirit connection. This boost of positive energy will help you manage stress and make the most of your life, allowing you to thrive in the new normal. Now, please welcome the host of The Holistic Entrepreneur, Bonnie Groessl.
Well, welcome everyone. This is your host, Bonnie Groessl, here at The Holistic Entrepreneur. Now today we're going to talk about forgiveness, but more on that in just a moment, because first I want to let you know how grateful I am for you sharing your valuable time with me. I so appreciate you. So if this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you've tuned in before, welcome back. I hope that you find this will be another valuable episode with tips and insights to help you toward enhanced well-being. Now, I always want to remind you that the information presented here is educational, inspirational, and motivational in nature, but I always want you to just take what fits for you and simply let go of the rest. This show does not intend or imply to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment either. I always want to remind everyone of that little caveat before we begin. Now, the other thing that I always like to do when we get together every week is to remind you to take a moment for you, to just stop if you can. Stop what you're doing and just breathe. But breathe with intention. Notice your breath. Taking a moment for you and just notice the air coming in and the air going out makes such a difference to just stop. Notice what a wonderful human being you are. You are so loved and people need you. You know, I always want to remind you to just stop and notice. Just a moment. The more you do this, really, the better. Maybe this is the only moment you take for yourself this week, but that's really why I want to always have this reminder in every episode in the show. So at least once a week, you get the little reminder. Now, remember to check out the show page, because if we've talked about things, I always have links for you there, and my link to bonniegroessl.com, my website, and my Facebook page are always there, and you can really pretty much find anything we talk about by either one of those two places. But if I have something extra, that will be there as well. I'd love to hear how it's going with you. I'd love to hear if you have questions or comments. Send me a message or post something on the Facebook page of Coach Bonnie Groessl. I would love to hear from you. Now, today we talk about forgiveness. And the relationship between forgiveness and your health is humongous. The fact that, if we've been hurt or humiliated or angered, whether it's real or imagined, the effect is the same. Not forgiving blocks the flow of love. It adversely affects our energy. It affects almost all of our bodily functions, including our health. For example, if you're angry about something and you find it difficult to let it go, your muscles might tighten, you might get headaches, you might have a pain in your neck or your arms or your leg or your back. You might have nausea or sort of this pit in your stomach. It affects the way that we supply oxygen and nutrients to our cells. It can cause poor sleep. And we need that sleep to recharge. It's like rebooting your computer. If your teeth are clenched, your jaw might be tight. The blood flow to your heart may constrict. You might have digestive issues. When our breathing is restricted and our immune system is suppressed, we become more vulnerable to infections and disease and perhaps even some cancers. When we feel badly, our mind is less able to see through problems and difficulties. Well, the list goes on and on. Basically, unforgiveness is not good. Unforgiveness keeps you a prisoner and is not good for your health and well-being. Getting in touch with and releasing your anger or negative feelings safely is really important. Now, it's okay to be angry with someone or yourself for a short time, but just don't live there. You have to let it go. Don't carry it around with you, and don't live in that negative energy for very long. We have to practice forgiveness on ourselves. We're often the hardest on ourselves, and we can be our own worst critic. But when you don't forgive yourself for something, it can result in feelings of depression, low self-esteem, self-acceptance, a sense that you're not worthy. You may deprive yourself of good opportunities, punishing yourself through activities and relationships that might cause you harm. Things like addictions are part of this. Not being able to forgive yourself or others negatively affects your energy and always in your life. Now, the golden nugget here is that you can choose to change that. You don't have to be a prisoner of unforgiveness. Our negative and critical emotions about others or ourselves have a tremendous impact. Now, the word negative actually means to subtract from. So when we're negative, we're subtracting something from ourselves, from the love and the life force that's potentially there for all of us. And when we're stuck in a negative place, we delay healing of our body, emotions, relationships, really everything. When we're young and we're in school, we don't learn how to forgive. We learn about reading and writing and math, but we don't learn the process of forgiveness. Yet it is so important throughout your entire life. To forgive yourself and others, you have to begin with identifying where to utilize the forgiveness process. First, you have to become aware that deep down you value health and love and joy more than any disease, resentment, or anger. And then choose to forgive, both yourself and others, from a place of compassion. Let's take an example of being angry with someone because of something they did. If you follow one of the basic core guidelines that I like to follow and accept that everyone does the best they can with what they have, we may realize that at the moment they did whatever it is that they did the best they could. Maybe they were wrong in what they did, but maybe they weren't coming from a very good place. And the same holds true for you. Generally, people don't intentionally do things to make other people angry. It just happens, or it is what it is. So accept that, but harvest the good from it. There's always something good. You can always find something good. Forgiving someone, doesn't mean that you agree with what they did or that you condone or excuse their behavior. It simply means that you love them unconditionally. The condition doesn't matter. It separates the person from the event or the incident. And this goes for yourself, too. Now, it's an even harder thing to forgive yourself. To separate others from the event or incident that took place is sometimes a little easier. You might have an easier time forgiving other people more than forgiving yourself. Sometimes we stay mad at ourselves for a long time. Oftentimes, when we find ourselves angry with other people, it may not be so much what they've done, but it probably triggered an emotion from a previous experience we've had. So it isn't always even what happened. It's what it relates to in you at that subconscious level. Unforgiveness also lowers your vibration. Remember, it means that you attract in the future what will be a match to your current vibration. So if you come from that place of anger and unforgiveness, you're probably just going to get more of the same. Anger and unforgiveness are difficult things to deal with. If you have guilt, as an example, you are angry with yourself. It's really anger turned inward. Emotions like anger and hatred just don't make us feel good. Many of us need to work on forgiveness on a regular basis. So don't feel bad if you've got forgiveness issues, because many people do. In fact, I don't know somebody who hasn't had to deal with this. Forgiving yourself is probably, like I said, the most difficult thing. Self-acceptance is accepting yourself the way you are at any moment. It's that unconditional love. Knowing that you're perfect just the way you are. Self-acceptance is a difficult thing for people, and we often get stuck with it. Sometimes people say, I just want my life back. I just want to be back to normal. I miss being normal. They might even be angry about not being, quote, normal anymore. Well, when things happen in our lives, and it doesn't really matter what it is, we get married, we have a job, we have an illness or an accident. Really, just about anything that changes our life in a major way, we can never go back to exactly the way it used to be. So we're continually needing to create a new normal. Now, with the pandemic that we just kind of are going through, and some countries are further along in the process than others in the world, but none of us are going back to normal the way it was before. It's a new normal for everybody. So if you're having trouble forgiving someone else, here's an idea. Try to put yourself in their place. Imagine that you're on the other side. Just really reflect on this and show empathy. Sometimes the person who you think, quote, wronged you didn't even realize it. But here you are carrying it around and still mad, right? It's not even in their awareness. They didn't think they did anything wrong. So it's up to you to change how you feel. Nobody can do that for you. And if it's self-forgiveness, cut yourself some slack. Practice self-love. Let it go. It's okay to be angry for a little bit. Just don't live there. Practices like meditation, reflection, just getting out in nature, going someplace where people can't really hear you, like out in nature, and just screaming, getting it out, punching a pillow, however you need to release that anger. Those are all things that can be tools to help you to be able to let it go. And certainly seek professional help if needed, because this does not intend or imply to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. But I do want you to, if you are holding on to anger of some type, whether it's toward yourself, toward other people, toward an event, whatever, let it go. You won't be free until you choose to let it go. So your action step for this week is to reflect on where you might be holding unforgiveness. Maybe it's something somebody said or did, or something you did or didn't do. So just notice where you need to practice some forgiveness, and then use things like meditation, reflection, getting out in nature, punching a pillow, screaming, whatever it is that you need to release it. Release it so that you can let it go and move on. So until next time, I wish you health, happiness, and abundance. I want to thank you for joining me at the Holistic Entrepreneur Show today. I know that time is our most precious asset, and so I appreciate you spending your time with me. Now, my purpose is to be of the best service to this community. Whether it's your personal or your work life, I'm here to support you. The best place to get the latest scoop is at bonniegroessl.com. Everything is there. We can connect, and you'll find special offers and gifts that I have for you to help you attain the health, happiness, and abundance you deserve. And I encourage you to sign up for my monthly newsletter for more useful information and exclusive offers. The links are on the show page below. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the Holistic Entrepreneur Show on your favorite podcast directory so that you automatically receive the newest episode when it's released. Until next time, this is Bonnie Groessl, wishing you health, happiness, and abundance.